if you take a look over here, and this is my aha moment, I only own this Golden Dragon Girl secret rare for 36 days. But because the rarity is secret rare, I can take the 36 days, multiply that by 6, so I get 216 days. I can own a Todd Batman, which is one of the craziest collectibles in the app, for 266 days, and I only get 266 points. What is up, you guys? This is Will. In this video, I'll pretend to be a developer in the Ecomi dev team to give you a glimpse of how your account, your NFTs, and your data are being stored in the Ecomi database, and how these data points are being utilized in the background for the Veve Master Collector program. These are the stuff that none of us have seen before, so if you are interested in the behind the scene, the nerdy data side that nobody have talked about before, I believe this is the first video that addresses this particular topic. Or if you want to get an early edge, an early advantage to get ahead in the Master Collector program, this is a video for you. As always, if you enjoy the content, please give this video a like. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And most of all, subscribe now so that you don't miss out on valuable and actionable content that will help you to make better decisions in Veve. Let's get to it. First, you need to know that Ecomi stores our data in a database. Think of a database as a giant file cabinet, where in a file cabinet, there are many files. In a database, there are many tables. Each of these tables represents one aspect of the data they are storing about you. For example, there can be a table, let's just call it NFT ownership table, that stores data that looks like, oh, this user ID Will bought this Todd Batman on this date from this person for this amount and sold it on this date for this amount to this person. For example, there could be another table related to our social activity. Oh, this guy, Dylan, he posted 3 posts and the content of these 3 posts is XYZ on these 3 separate dates. There can be another table related to login frequency. There can be another one related to account status. So if you have your account suspended, your data in that table will probably looks like suspended or blocked or whatever, or under investigation. If your account is perfectly normal, then the data in that table can be active. The reason why it is important for the Ecomi team to manage these tables is that these tables will feed data points to the Veve app that you're using, so that whenever you open the app, you see that, oh, you have 50 collectibles, 10 sets, 200 followers, and these are the mint number of your collectibles. Those data points are stored in these tables. So it is very important to manage them and to utilize them to create all the functionalities in the app. All right, I know this is gonna sound very technical, but if you want to create a solution that will serve millions of people, you need to be technical. So I promise I'll try to make it as humanly friendly as possible. It's gonna be a lot of fun, so bear with me. First thing first, I will introduce you to the tables that the Ecomi team will probably use to calculate your MCP point. The first table we need to take a look at is the NFT ownership table. This is probably somewhat similar to what your data will look like in their database. Again, this is not the blockchain data. That is a whole different story. This is just what they save in their database so that they can serve the app, serve you, and do these calculations. All right, so in this particular NFT ownership table, I have some markup data for me. Collector IDs, that's me. NFT ID, I have my 4 NFTs over here with my Batman Todd 100, Common Edition, Mint 2858. Next up, we have the NFT type, rarity, and origin. These are pretty easy to understand. And then ownership start date, which is when I acquired these NFTs, and ownership end date, which is the last date of my ownership of these NFTs. So the reason why this value over here is blank is because my ownership of the Todd Batman hasn't ended, so it doesn't have an end date yet. When I sell it, like I did to my Golden Dragon Girl, as you can see, I acquired her in December 27th last year, and I sold her in February, about 5 weeks later. So there is an ownership end date. So this is probably what the Ecomi dev team will see. Now, if they want to calculate your MCP points, the first thing they'll have to do is calculating the most important variable, which is the ownership period, or how long you own these NFTs. Veve is an app built for collecting, so the longer you own or the longer you hold on to something, the more points you get, and that is determined by the ownership period. The formula to calculate ownership period is basically the gap between ownership start date and ownership end date. And now the question is, hey, Will, this value is empty. You haven't sold your tot, so how do you know the ownership period of your tot Batman? And the answer for that is the ownership period of an item that I haven't sold is the gap between the date when I bought it until today. All right, so when I calculate this again tomorrow, it's gonna be from August 15 to the date of tomorrow, for example. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull out all of this data. I know it's gonna sound technical, but I'm gonna make it as humanly friendly as possible. And then I'm gonna set a condition to deal with these cases for the collectibles that I haven't sold, that the ownership hasn't ended. Okay, so I'm gonna use a condition that in the case when this value is null, then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the date of today. So today is May 8th. So I'm gonna take the current date, and current date is a dynamic value, meaning that when I run this query today, the current date will be May 8th, but when I run it tomorrow, it's gonna be May 9th. So I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna subtract that by the ownership start date. Okay, otherwise meaning when this value over here is populated, then I'm just gonna take whatever value is over here, subtract that by the ownership start date. So I'm gonna take ownership and date and subtract that by the ownership start date. And I'm gonna end that calculation. And I'm just gonna call it ownership period, okay? And this data, all this calculation will be done from this table, which is I created, called Veve NFT ownership. So when I run that, you will see over here that my tot Batman has an ownership period of 266 days. This is basically the gap between August 15, 2021 to today, which is May 8th, 2022. When I run this query again tomorrow, the current date will change to tomorrow's date. So this number will change accordingly to 267. My Golden Dragon Girl, however, has an ownership period of 36 days, so about 5 weeks. And this is because I bought her on December 27th last year and I sold her 36 days later. All right, so this value is done. It's not going to change tomorrow because the ownership period ended. And these dates are random, by the way. I just made them up, but these collectibles are real. I hope that was easy enough to understand. The reason why I calculated the ownership period first is because you do get 1 daily point for every single day that you own each of these collectibles. I'm talking about collectibles for now. Comics is a different stories. We'll get to that in a minute, but that is not the end of it. Now we need to factor in the NFT rarities and NFT types, because we do get different bonus points in addition to the base point for owning certain types and rarity. Let's take a look at my Golden Dragon Girl. For every single day that I own any collectible, I get 1 point. For every single day that I own a secret rare collectible, I get 5 bonus points in addition to that 1 base point. For every single day that I own this Golden Dragon Girl, I get 6 points per day. So in order to calculate the number of points that I have accumulated for this particular secret rare collectible, I need to take the ownership period, which is 36 days, multiply that by 6, because again, I get 6 points for owning a secret rare collectible every single day. So we're gonna factor that into this equation. This is probably what somebody in the Ecomi dev team will have to do after looking at the Medium article. So they have to match the business logic that Ray, Dan, or David have created to the data so that they can do this calculation and display it in the app so that you can see it. I'm just gonna add in some extra logics to take into consideration how the NFT types and the NFT rarities will add into your daily points. I'm just going to code that in case when the NFT type is a collectible and the NFT rarity is a secret rare. Okay, then take the ownership period, which we just calculated, and multiply that by 6, because again you get 6 points for every single day that you own a secret rare. And then I'm gonna add the other conditions in when, same thing over here, if your rarity is ultra rare, then take the ownership period, multiply that by 1.5. Why is that? Again, you get 1 daily base point for owning every single collectible. However, if that collectible is a secret rare, then you get 5 bonus points. That makes it 6 points per day. If that collectible is an ultra rare, then you get an extra 0.5 point in addition to that base point. So you get 1.5 points for every single day you own an ultra rare collectible. This is why if I own an ultra rare collectible for 30 days, the total points will be 30 times 1.5. So I have prepared all of that logics here, so I'm just gonna paste it in. So let's go over them real quick. For all the collectibles, okay, if an NFT is a collectible and the rarity is secret rare, then take the ownership period times 6. If an NFT is a collectible and the rarity is a rare, then take the ownership period times 1.25. Why is that? You do get 0.25 bonus points for every single day that you own a rare collectible. However, for the common and uncommon rarities, you don't get any bonus points. Meaning, for my Todd Batman, if I've been owning it for 266 days, then I only get 266 points for owning this common Batman. Comics is a totally different story. If I own a common comic, like my Marvel comic, like my Marvel #1 comic book, then for every single day that I own this particular comic book, I only get a quarter point. But if I, for some reason, have a secret rare comic book, then for every single day that I own this, I get 6 points. Alright, so I'm just gonna run this query and everything will make sense to you. I have been owning my Marvel comic book #1, the common rarity, for 313 days. However, because it is a common comic book, every single day I only get a quarter point, meaning I have to take this 313, multiply that by 0.25. So I get, up to today, I get an accumulative 78 points for owning this comic book. If you take a look over here, and this is my aha moment, I only own this Golden Dragon Girl secret rare for 36 days. But because the rarity is secret rare, I can take the 36 days, multiply that by 6, so I get 216 days. As you can see, I can own a Todd Batman, which is one of the craziest collectibles in the app, for 266 days, and I only get 266 points. However, if I own something that is a lot scarcer, like the Golden Dragon Girl secret rare, I only own her for 36 days, but I get 216 points. So this is why you need to plan out your MCP strategy accordingly. But that is not the end of it. You can still get more points for your collectibles. If you were to buy something from the marketplace, and you do get a one-off 15 points. If you were to buy something from the store or from the drop, then you do get one-off 25 points. So when I run this query, it will let me know that I get a 25 points extra. And this is a one-off point, by the way, for owning a Wonder Woman FA, because I bought her from a drop. But for the other collectibles I get from the marketplace, and I only get one-off 15 points. So now the total points that each of these NFTs will bring you will be the sum of the rarity points and the one-off point. Add these two columns together. I run the query again. So for me, if I were just to have these 4 collectibles in my account, in my transaction history, the sum of these 4 values will be the total points that I have accumulated until today for the MCP program. So I added everything up, and the total NFT points that I get is 783.25. I'm just gonna put it here. Now keep in mind that your MCP point also depends on how social you are on the app, how often you log in, and other variables that I haven't talked about yet. So let's take social as the other factor. You do get points for posting on a social feed in the Veve app. The Ecomi team tracks every single thing that you do on the app, including your social posts. For example, this is probably what my data would look like in their database. This is just a markup data, by the way. They will be able to tell that, hey, this collector ID will post it 3 times over the past year. The fact that I created these social posts will earn me points as well. This is why you guys need to engage socially on the app. So if you feel like you don't have enough NFTs for the MCP program, you can still accumulate points by engaging socially. All right, so they know that this collector ID will me has 3 posts. So what they can do is that they can just calculate the number of posts that I have created. So what they can do is they can just select count his posts, right? So I'm just count post ID from Veve social, just another random name table where the collector ID is Will. All right, and they will be able to tell that this guy Will posted 3 times in the past 2 years or whatever, and this can be 3 points or whatever that will add up to my 783 points that I have from accumulating these NFTs. Veve will also reward you for just being in the app, for just logging into the Veve app. I have created another table that is called Veve login. Basically tracks the number of times and the date that you log in. For example, this collector ID Will, he logged in 3 separate days over the past 2 years. The Ecomi team will probably calculate the number of days I log in and reward me for being a frequent user, for example. So what they can do is pretty similar. They will just count the number of days I log in. So count login date from Veve login where collector ID is Will. Okay, so they will be able to tell that Will has logged in on 3 different days. They haven't said how many points they will reward us for logging in on these social activities, but for this video, let's just assume that we get 1 point for every single day that we log in. So in total, my MCP point at this very basic, for entertainment purpose only video, will be the sum of my NFT point. We add that to my social point. I have 3 points from posting 3 posts, and then my login point, which is the fact that I log in on 3 separate days. Keep in mind that there are so many other variables and factors that I haven't taken accounted for in this particular video. I just wanted to make it as simple as possible for you guys to understand. You get points for completing the onboarding process. You get points for completing a set. You get points from having duplicate NFTs. You get points from having a low mint collectible, and so many other things. So I just want to make it as simple as possible so that it makes sense to everybody. So in total, if we were just to rely on my very basic, very dumbed down, for entertainment purpose only calculation, then I do get up to today 789.25 points for my Veve activity and NFT ownership. If you have made it this far into the video, you are awesome, and I think you deserve some little secrets, little insights I found during the process of making this video about MCP and running these queries over and over again. The first thing is I found this particular Veve NFT type and rarity that will get you the maximum point for the minimum amount of money invested. I also found out the reason why Dan mentioned in one of the recent AMAs that if you want to enroll into the MCP, or if you want to get your MCP point, you have to manually request for them instead of having those two functionalities automatically done for you. Also, I don't expect the Master Collector program to be released within the next few months, especially since they have the web app, cash out, Omi utility program, so on and so forth. But if you are eager to try out the MCP program, or if you just want to calculate these points like I just did to some of my collectibles, I am thinking about making a spreadsheet with all of those logics that you just saw in this video, so that if you have time, or if you can't wait for the Master Collector program to roll out, or you just want to try a fun, very simple version of MCP and calculate your own points using your collectibles and data, you can do it. Let me know if you are interested in that spreadsheet and getting your, fun MCP points, and I'll try to make it happen. I know this video is too long already, but if you're interested in getting the maximum points for the minimum amount of money, if you're interested in calculating your own MCP point, just like a fun version of it, and if you're interested in why you have to manually opt in into the MCP, subscribe. I'll talk about all of them because I want to dedicate 3 other separate videos to talk about those topics to make sure that you get the most out of them. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. If you have enjoyed this video and find it helpful, please give it a like. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and please subscribe to my channel down below so that you don't miss out on valuable and actionable content like this one that will help you to make better decisions in Veve. Thank you so much. I hope to see you again next time. Peace.